5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello humans, Retro Rocket Man here. Today's part 2 of turning a Hulk figure into a Batman. In the previous video I prepared the Hulk figure with a lot of sculpting using a product called Milliput to transform the original sculpt into a Batman figure inspired by Frank Miller's version. Now today what we're doing is preparing for a final paint. So the first step is to give him an all-over undercoat, just a nice even spray, just to make everything look uniform and to highlight any possible areas that still may need to be fixed up as far as the sculpt is concerned, and also to give the prepare the plastic surface for the acrylic paints that I will be touching up on top. So once the grey has been evenly applied and it's dry, you get a first really good idea of what the figure that once looked like the Hulk now looks like. So from Hulk to Batman. Now he's barely recognisable as being the Hulk, and now he looks more like a big chunky version of Batman, which is synonymous with the Frank Miller version of The Dark Knight. I'm going to start by painting the mask and the cowl in a medium blue. Decided to go for a blue and grey combination. First up I'm going to just use this medium blue, quite bright, but down the track I intend to darken it down with some black shoe polish. The good thing about the shoe polish is that it's a transparent finish, so it still allows a lot of the blue to come through, giving you a certain depth to the finish. Painting areas such as the mask and the cowl, the logo, the gloves and his boots. I could have also painted an area for his trunks, but I decided to leave them, his pants, just all grey, so it's a bit of a balance between the traditional look of Batman and say most recent version of Batman being Ben Affleck's from Batman vs Superman. So there's a kind of a crossover there. naturally I'm also painting the belt yellow. This particular paint didn't seem to matter how I put about 3 coats on it in the end, and it still showed through. The undercoat still showed through. So probably a bit of a cheap and nasty paint. Wasn't too happy with the way it turned out, but it's all I had, so I just went on, just made do with what I had. In applying the black shoe polish, I just liberally dab it on. This creates a texture as I go, because I don't intend to wipe this off as I've done with other effects using the shoe polish. I want to leave the strength of the shoe polish remaining, but it still, because of its transparent nature, allows the blue to come through. So by dabbing it on, it creates a texture that I'm sort of hoping will give an uneven coverage to show that it's more of a leather finish on his mask and on his gloves and boots as well, to try and tie them all in together. And the effect was almost immediate with the colour change. Certainly calms down that vivid blue effect. And also applying the same method to the logo as well. Just ties all the different parts of the suit together. You can see the difference between the two blues before I apply the shoe polish. It's a great way to compare the differences in the finish. I'm also applying the black shoe polish to his torso, to the grey areas, to accentuate the sculpt, bring out the lines, the creases, the wrinkles, just to give him more depth and to show off all his musculature. And in this case I'll be liberally brushing on the black and then dabbing it with a rag to remove any unwanted excess, and hopefully leave behind in the creases and the wrinkles the darkness to highlight them. It also gives you an overall effect of a weathered and war-torn suit. Putting the black certainly brings out all those ripples in the muscles, makes it look much more of an exciting action figure. This is a bit of a sidetrack, a bit of bonus information. When it came to portraying the Hulk in the cinematic universe, it was played by 3 actors. First one had been an Aussie actor by the name of Eric Bana. He's actually more well known in Australia for his comedic talents as opposed to his serious roles. But ever since moving off to Hollywood, had more dramatic roles as opposed to comedy ones. Then he was followed up by Edward Norton, who played the Hulk in the Incredible Hulk. And then thirdly we had Mark Ruffalo, who played the Hulk in all the Avengers incarnations of the character. I don't particularly have a favourite. I think they all portrayed the character equally as well, although the movies themselves had varying degrees of success. Avengers version of the Hulk is probably more popular than the previous 2, but all just as entertaining. after resculpting the feet to cover up his bare feet, make it look like he's wearing boots. Because it's such an exaggerated sculpt, decided to make the steel cap toes on his boots exaggerated as well. At this stage I'm just painting these areas in a chrome silver, and then I'll be going in and applying various intensities of black and brown shoe polish to bronze those off. Here I'm also applying the silver to the belt buckle. As I said earlier, I'll be applying brown shoe polish to the flesh tone to tan it off a bit, and also bring out the sculpted lines in the cheek and jaw area. This will also be an effect I use to create a 5 o'clock shadow or a stubble area around his chin, just by lightly dabbing the shoe polish in a stippling effect. Another bit of interesting information is that we had 3 actors to play the Hulk. We had numerous actors in the cinematic universe that have played Batman, from Michael Keaton to Val Kilmer, George Clooney to Christian Bale to Ben Affleck, and on the horizon we'll be seeing Robert Pattinson. That particular version is yet to be released, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. So here's the overall finished effect with the shoe polish and the paint. I've dabbed the yellow of the belt with the brown shoe polish as well. You can see the bronzed out looking steel cap toes for the boots. Very dramatic, but it all keeps in proportion to the size of the sculpt and the figure. I'm just breaking up the uniformity of the belt even more by putting a bit of black shoe polish in between the pouches, just to give it more depth. Just removing some excess shoe polish after dirtying the steel caps down a bit more, just to make it look like it belongs to the figure. You can't have everything else grimed up and still have other areas that are way too clean. On his gauntlets, the spikes that I'd sculpted and then painted silver, I'm now bronzing off with some brown shoe polish to tie it in with the other metallic parts of his costume. Simply applying the shoe polish wet and then rag off the excess, leaves a subtle change to the silver. Next up is the cape. simply going to, by eye, just map out the shape with a white pencil on black fabric against the figure itself. So I've got an idea of how big to make it. And I'll be cutting this in a curved fashion. The longest peak running from the back of the shoulders in the centre down to his feet. And then roughly penciled in the winged feature with the points. And now I'm just cutting it out, just all by eye. And I think we'll agree that the end result is quite good. Now I'm just gluing it off, and this will complete the transition from what was once a Hulk figure to my interpretation of the Dark Knight. Hope you enjoyed this video, fellow humans, and stay tuned for more in the future. This is Retro Rocket Man. I'll certainly see you in the next one. Over and out.